Hi, everybody, and welcome to Season 2, Episode 37 of Power Networking Media's weekly feature program, Spotlight on Small Business. I'm your host, Moshe Klein. Spotlight introduces you to successful small business owners who share content and information that you don't want to miss. Today, I'm very pleased to welcome my new friend and networking partner, Kimlye Steger. Kimlye is a reporter for the Maricopa Monitor. And for those of you that have not heard of Maricopa or the publication, it's a local newspaper in a community where Kimlye and I both live. Kimlye, welcome to the program.
Thank you so much for having me today.
It's my pleasure. I'd like to just take a second and explain how you and I met and why I decided to invite you as a guest on the program. About a month ago or so, I was walking my dog around the golf course where I live, and she got off her leash. It was not her first time, as you now know, because you wrote a story about it. And it became quite an adventure. A number of people at the golf course on golf carts started chasing her and tried to surround her to help me catch her. And what ultimately ended up happening was a group of wonderful children from a local school who were members of a golf team, a golf club, ended up stepping up to the plate and helping me capture Poppy. Well, it was, thank goodness it all ended on a happy note, but it was something really worthy of a newspaper article, and you picked up that story. And I was so impressed, not only to see my dog on the front page of the local newspaper, but how you put the story together. So thank you for that. And let me start out by asking you, how did you get into journalism? Why journalism and not some big international business executive?
That is a question. Honestly, I've always loved writing ever since I was a kid. And then the University of Idaho, which is the college that I graduated from, came to my high school, and that just blew me away, just with their journalism program. And I was like, this is it. This is what I want to do for the rest of my life. And I've loved every minute of it. I loved all my college courses and just all the things that I learned from wonderful professors. And they've helped me to all get to where I am today. And I'm very grateful for that. And just this opportunity pretty quickly out of college to be able to work for this amazing company. So.
Well, you obviously, or obvious to me at least, you're very talented in your chosen profession. What impressed me, I think, most of all is, you see, when you were interviewing me for the story about what happened with me and my dog, I really thought that the whole article, when it was written up, would be about the interview you had with me. But to my surprise, you had interviewed so many other people and pulled so many pieces together. You'll forgive the pun, but I think you did some great networking, and that's what small business is all about. And the majority of people who are going to see this interview are small business owners and people who network. So is networking a part of journalism?
Yes, absolutely. Very important parts, I think, not just business aspect, just on the personal level, realizing that they are people. And I'm a people person. I like being able to talk with people and get to know them and why they do what they do, and how it all operates and functions. And I think that's a really fascinating part of how businesses operate.
So for my purposes, I'm going to call you a new small business owner. So let's talk about the importance of networking. And you know the old saying, it's not only what you know, it's who you know. Now, you've been here in Maricopa and on this job for less than a year. How do you meet people, Kimlye? How do you know what you're going to write about next and who you're going to write about? What is a typical day like in your life?
Okay, well, I started to meet people thanks to, the help of my supervisor and, other people, and just helping me to connect. And actually, the person who used to have the position helped me a whole lot and came up with just a list of, people that I would be able to contact. And so that's been very helpful. And going to like the school board meetings and planning and zoning and city council meetings and stuff, that definitely is a big way to meet people. And then Maricopa has many fun events. I love attending those, like Maricopa. I had a good time there. So you can definitely, meet people, and especially since they see, my face and just be like, oh, you're the reporter, and maybe I have a story for you. And, I hand out a business card, and then they'll email me or however, and so that's just kind of, I guess, some of the ways that networking works for me.
Makes perfect sense. And by the way, the process that you just described is no different for a small business owner, somebody that comes to a new community and sets up a business. They have to go out and make connections. And sometimes just telling people, hi, I'm Moshe Klein, I'm an accountant. If they don't need an accountant, they'll say, Moshe, it's nice to meet you. That's interesting. And then the conversation will go in another direction. But if there is a need, just like you said, they might have a story for you to, consider writing about. People will say, Moshe, do you do taxes? I'll say, why, yes, I do. Oh, Moshe, I need your services. And it kind of just, like a snowball, it grows and rolls from there. Kimlye, besides writing about runaway beagles at the golf course, what are some of the other stories you've written about? Anything related to business?
Okay. Some of the stories that I have written are about some nonprofits, some having to do with stray animals and being able to make them adoptable for other people, which is really sweet. And then just also for against abuse, and just being able to, highlight an event that they did around Christmas time, and just being able to help families. So I've done stories like that. I really would like to be able to write more about small businesses in Maricopa. I think it's really important to be able to support, businesses, small or big, but it's definitely important to, I think, support the smaller ones, because that's how they grow and they get bigger. But also, I just think that Maricopa is a community where they come together and they help each other. And so I think that's also a really neat aspect to have.
Well, certainly, as Pinal County, the county where Maricopa is seated, the population is exploding, and not millions, but billions of dollars are coming from all over the country, being invested by large and small businesses alike in our county. So I think that this beautiful community that I've seen grow over the past few years since my wife and I came out is going to be doubled or even further in the next couple of years. So I don't think you're going to have a hard time meeting other small business owners. But as we are quickly running out of time, I would love to invite you to come back sometime and be a featured speaker to talk to our small business community a little bit about, from your perspective, what it is of interest to the reader. And we've got no shortage of small business owners in Pinal County that would love to meet you, that represent really every segment of the business industry. I think that would make a wonderful networking event where people could meet you and get some insight into journalism, and you could have your pick of the flock in terms of businesses to explore. But we are almost out of time, Kimlye. Let me ask you, what are you working on right now? Is there a project that you could share with us that we could look forward to the next edition and get a little sneak peek at?
Okay, well, I think the next thing, the biggest thing, is the Copacetic magazine that's going to come out at the end of the month.
Mhm.
And it has to do kind of with like New Year's resolutions. So I've written some stories in there, and I hope that you guys will read it. I would like that.
I read everything that your company puts out, not only here in Maricopa, but I subscribe to the Casa Grande Dispatch. Very excellent journalism. So I get all the magazines and the newspapers. I'm addicted, and I know many of our small business networking partners do as well. Kimlye, I know we're going to have you back, but we are out of time today. If any of our listeners would like to reach out to you directly, maybe find out a little bit more about your publication or what it is you're working on, what's the best way for people to reach you?
The best way to reach me is at my email at kstaker@penalcentral.com. So that's the best way to reach me. And I can also give out my cell phone number if they reach out to me as well to make it, a bit easier to contact me.
Awesome. And I'd be happy to make an introduction as well. If anybody asks me, I'll be happy to make an email introduction. Kimlye Stager, star reporter at the Maricopa Monitor and my new networking partner and friend, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy day to be a guest on Spotlight on Small Business.
Thank you so much for having me again.
It's truly been my pleasure. If you'd like to be a guest on Spotlight and shine a spotlight on your small business, just send an email to team@powernetworkingteam.com and we'll be happy to make those arrangements right away. Until next time and our next episode, good luck and good networking.